Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're up here in the Adirondacks and we're working on making some charcoal, or really carbon, from wood products. That way we can make it into biochar later. So what I have here, and I can't remember the channel that showed it, but they were showing these cans where they crimped the edges and then they took a top, and actually let me grab this one behind me here. This one has a whole bunch of wood sticks in it. These are pretty dry, and what you do, as you can see, it's crimped around the sides. You take your top, and as you can see, they're sticking up past the top there. You're going to put that over the top. Oh, one little piece sticking out. You're going to kind of pop it down on there. And what this is going to do is make a cylinder, so that way you can have, I've got a little tiny hole in the top here, but it also comes out around the side. I've already used this a couple times. And what this is going to do is kind of turn into a, I guess it's a retort, is what it's called, and it's going to make it where it's cooking this wood without oxygen in this fire behind me. This is a campfire we set up here. It's been going for a while. It's got some nice hot coals in it, and it's going to, you're going to see flames shoot out the sides, and then after about an hour to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes, this will be done. You put it off to the side, you let it cool, and then you get some charcoal out of it, or that you can turn into biochar. Now with that, you need to grind it up really, and then what I do is I actually add it to my worm bins, so that way there is a way to get that inoculation into this charcoal that we're creating. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one, and make sure it's closed, and throw this one on the fire here. Right like that. That's all I do. Now, the video that I saw, I can't, as I said, I'll put a link down below to the channel. I'm up here, I don't have really good internet right now. But he was actually adding these to his wood burning stove, which is a great way to do it. You're getting heat and you're creating charcoal. Now, I don't happen to have one of those at home, but I do happen to have, when I come up here, an available fire, and during the winter there's a wood burning stove. I'm not going to use it during the summer. It's a little warm. I know I've got long sleeves on, but that's just to keep the bugs off of me, really. But see, with that, you can already see it's starting to smoke a little bit. Let me just zoom in here. Let me come back here. Let me zoom in. And if I can grab the thing, you can see it's starting to smoke already. And with that, it's eventually going to light on fire, that smoke that's around it, but you can see there's some glowing coals underneath. It's really reflecting that heat back down. And it's going to basically cook off all the oxygen in there, all the moisture, and it's going to turn this into great charcoal. Now, we'll see if we can watch it at the end as far as that goes, but what I really want to talk about is also, if I come back down here in frame, I don't know if you can see me or not here, I have some other cans here. Now these are coffee cans and peanut tins that I have. These don't actually have any coating in them. They're pretty clean, but these here have this yellow coating inside. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a yellow coating, and I found that really you should sort of burn that off. It must be some sort of plastic or epoxy material. It doesn't smell good when you burn it. So this is something you might want to be careful of if you're using some of these, like these soup cans, or these are from baked beans. You probably don't want to heat these up with food inside of it because of whatever's in here. I don't know what it is, but it's probably not safe to consume. But so if you're going to put these in, I put these in face down, kind of burn out the inside, and that way it kind of comes out of there instead of throwing that in your worm bins. I wouldn't want that. But then you also have to make sure when you get cans, they actually need to be able to hold each other. So I've got a whole bunch of cans, and I got to make sure that they match up when they go together. So with that, let's see if this catches on fire here in a few minutes, and then we'll kind of come back hopefully later and see what the outcome of this this burn is. One more thing also, when you're doing this in a fire like this, you're probably going to need to rotate it. So make sure that you can rotate it. You've got some sort of tool, like I've got a poking stick over here to the side. I can use it to sort of rotate it to make sure it gets that even burn, because always one side will burn, but the other side might not be hot enough to actually cause the combustion to happen. So what's going to happen is, you see the smoke coming out of there right now, that's water vapor. Eventually it's going to turn into wood gas. At that point it will actually ignite, and I've seen it where there's just flames coming out the side when I've done this in the past. So it's a really neat process. It's also really good for your soil to add these type of amendments to it, as it never, what is it, 1,000 years they say that it'll take to break down in this process. If you just make a pit, I think I heard it breaks down a little bit quicker, but this process actually drives off more of the wood and the impurities of the charcoal to make it where it's a little bit more pure and will take a lot longer to break down. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and let this sit, and we'll come back at the end. It's only been about 5 to 10 minutes, and you can already see the flames shooting out the side. I also threw in some of my cans in the back there that need to be sort of cooked off a little bit to get rid of those coatings inside. But yeah, you can already see that it's starting to shoot out the sides, all the wood gases, and they're catching on fire. So it's already heated up the wood. It was pretty dry to begin with, but yeah, this was just wood from my backyard that you know, trees, branches falling, things like that. Just chopped them up and put them in a can. It might be a little easier if you're using wood chips, but that's the one way to go, is to have a chipper. You chip everything up and throw it in there. For small cans like this, it works really well. For larger things, I've heard you really want some longer sticks though. So this is just small batch, which, you know, works for me, but might not work for everyone if you need a lot of this stuff. So we'll come back in a little bit. Hopefully when we're closer to finish, you'll see that their burn is complete and there's nothing else coming out of the can. And then we'll take it off and put it off to the side and let it sit overnight, so that way we don't have a chance of burning anything when we open it up, because this will ignite if it's still hot. And I recommend maybe having a temperature gauge so you can sort of get a reading on it. So with that, we're going to turn this off for now. We'll come back in a little bit. All right, here we are at the end of our burn. As you can tell, there's no smoke or flames coming out of there. The fire is still really hot. And now it's time to take it off. You set it to the side overnight. You don't want to open this too early. It will ignite if it's hot enough, because it's essentially charcoal now. So you want to put this off to the side. You want to put it on some concrete. You don't want to lay it in your yard or anything flammable. It's still hot. So put it on some concrete or on some bricks. Leave it off to the side. Leave it overnight or 24 hours, and then come back and open it up, and you should have some nice charcoal inside. And we'll take a look at it tomorrow. All right, it's been 24 hours. We're in the garage here as it was raining outside before, but you can see container much lighter than it used to be. So I have this container here that I store all of my charcoal in. I just want to show you what this looks like. First off, it's hard to tell in there probably, but the lid pretty clean. But you can see these are full branches and they just flake right apart. Look at that. And this is really, really good charcoal. And this is a really inexpensive method. I don't know if you can see this well. Let me actually move this. Let me put that on the way. Make it a little easier if it's on top of something that's a little bit brighter. But look at that. You can just see this just peels right apart. This is exactly what you're looking for in your charcoal. I mean, you can see that this was a branch. You can see the knot right there. Perfect branch. Flakes right apart into there. So that's what I've been looking for to get. And then I grind this all up. I put it in this container here, grind it all up, and throw this inside of my worm bins. And this will inoculate in there. So you can see this is a branch. Again, flakes right apart. And with it inoculated, that way it holds all the nutrients from your castings. You can also use maybe some of the liquid that comes out. And that's going to help you when you're adding this to your yard or your garden, because it's nice and healthy and full of microbes, and it's not going to soak. If you just throw this in your yard, just like this, it's going to soak up all those nutrients. Let's go ahead and dump this in here. So there's some stuff in here. There's some leaves even. I didn't even realize it. I had some leaves in here. And those also, same thing, carbonized. Look at that. Worked out really well. Yep, even this one was fully carbonized. I mean, it works really well. As I said, I'll post the link to the original person that posted this, because he did such a great job. And I love the fact that he's putting these inside of his wood-burning stove in his house, because that's a perfect place to do this and really get it to move forward and everything. And, you know, not use a lot of wood. You're using waste wood. You can even get wood chips and throw it in here and do the same thing. It's a really great process, I think, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity up here at my uncle's place to do this in the Adirondacks. If you ever get a chance to, highly recommend visiting up here. It's a beautiful place. But with that, I'm going to sign off, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions about this, I will do my best to answer them, but I'm still pretty new at this. But as you can see here, this one may be a little bit undercooked right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, this one might be a little undercooked. That one probably has to go through one more time. But other than that, this just really did a great job. I mean, everything else just crumbles right apart. So thank you for watching, and I hope you try this yourself if you get a chance.